Hi guys, I'm Shmee, hello squad, and as always, a big thanks to you guys, the regular and early viewers. I appreciate your support, although today, I'm afraid, it's a bit of a sad one. This is the last drive in my Ferrari FF. I've decided after 2.5 years and 20,000 miles of driving, crossing the continent, and some amazing adventures, that it's time now to move on the car to a new home. Today though, it's the last drive. Why, oh why, I can literally hear your screams from here. I've been saying for a long time that it would be very hard to directly replace my Ferrari FF with anything other than the newer version from Ferrari, the GT4 Lusso, which is not on the horizon at this stage. But to keep a long story short, in recent times, I've not really driven the car very much. And in fact, the last time I took it out onto the roads was 3 months ago. I've driven it once since then around the garage just to keep fluids circulating. But basically, the car needs more love. Since I took delivery of the AMG GT R, we're spending even more time abroad and on the road. I've been using that car for everything, combining it with the Focus RS when I need something with more seats and practicality. This car is getting on a little bit. It's 6 years old, although it's still covered by Ferrari's new power warranty and their servicing package. So it's basically like a car from a dealer. It's in immaculate shape. But I think, 2.5 years, I've had a pretty good time with it. It's time though now for it to move on to another home while I think about a GT4 Lusso somewhere down the line, not immediately. I don't need another car at this stage with the Porsche GT3 inbound as well and the new Focus RS Red Edition. But like I said, today it's the final drive in my FF. The surprise Shmee-mobile when I launched it, when I just announced that I'd bought my first Ferrari while we were waiting for the 675 LT Coupe, which seems like a long time ago now, given that the LT Spider has since arrived and been on countless adventures of its own. But we departed with those two cars for a trip around Europe before the Cayman GT4 arrived as well, and we had the triple lineup of the Blue Crew. But with its screaming V12, naturally aspirated V12, quirky Marmite looks that some people love, some people hate, I have always thought this is an amazing looking car, and really and truly, when I saw it for sale in this specification, with the Mans Blue paintwork, those choice of wheels and calipers, the crema interior, I was sold just on looks alone. But for now, like I said, we're going to take it out for a drive, so we will fire it up. Just need to grab the key and open the boot so that I can disconnect the trickle charger. It's been here on trickle on the tyre cushions to keep them in good shape, but I never actually converted it back over to winter tyres for this winter because, well, like I said, I haven't really driven it. So let us come around and jump into the car, which, I mean, you have seen many, many moments with this machine. We have done an awful lot of exciting things together, sharing those in the YouTube videos. And as I mentioned, inside, come on, just look at it. If you didn't know, you would think this was a brand new car. It's 6 years old, 30,000 miles on the clock, but I've done everything I can to look after it. But let's just listen to this. Hopefully it jumps straight into life.
Aston Martin dealership to pick up the Mans GT8 that's been in for a service. So we'll take a little convoy to drive the two cars back and really take in this last outing ahead of the Autosport show where the GT8 is going to be up in the live action arena if you want to come up and hear some noise of Mans GT8. While this just warms up and does its thing, I will get myself ready for this final journey, this final outing with the FF. The last surviving member of the Blue Crew. Who would have thought it? Back then, I'm fully happy to admit that I bought this car very much on a whim. It excited me an awful lot, the prospect of it, and I thought, hey, a V12 Ferrari, why not? And I've never regretted it since. But obviously the LT morphed into the LT Spider, the GT has morphed into the soon-to-be GT3, and a few more cars have been and gone since then. But 2.5 years, that is, other than my Renault Clio, my first ever car, that's the longest I've owned a car, my Ferrari. I'll be very sad to be without a Ferrari, there's no question about that, and I want to address a little bit more the GT4 Lusso, which naturally I would love. It would have to be a V12, and really it needs to be in the right specification at the right time when I feel I can comfortably afford it, because these cars cost an awful lot to run, they depreciate potentially an awful lot as well, so you want to be aware of that kind of thing. And let's face it, if I have a car like this, I drive it and I do stupid mileage on it, and that's the quickest way to end up costing yourself an awful lot. So I'll wait until the time is right in the future, but I can very much see a space for that, because there really is nothing that I think competes in this way. Yes, a Panamera Sport Turismo is an amazing car. Yes, a Bentley Continental GT or a Rolls-Royce Wraith would add a little bit more luxury but slightly less sportiness. But this combination of a car that really is a Ferrari, it is a Ferrari. When you drive it, as this car has been driven by the likes of Benzine Ben and Joe Achilles, it can be driven properly, and the memories and adventures and things we've done with it. I nearly went for an indicator stalk there, but the button is of course on the steering wheel. Things like fuel faction, it's been around the Nürburgring, albeit not racing, just for photos, slow, when the track was closed. It's been down the autobahns. Thinking way back to when I took delivery of it, I took it straight down to the south of France and it lived there for a couple of months with Seb Delaney, and that feels like ages ago, back when Sam Seen Through Glass and Paul Supercars of London were down there as well. A long time, but honestly, the memories and adventures and fuel faction down to Montenegro, I know I said that, but just when Joe drove it up a dirt road outside Ljubljana in Slovenia, that kind of stuff, just the ridiculous things we've done with it. I'd taken it on a ski holiday, we went skiing with some luggage in the back. It's been used to help move house at one point with a reasonable amount of luggage space in the back. Yes, there are things I don't like. For example, in this grimy weather, the windscreen wipers are pretty pants, to be completely honest. Sometimes the seatbelt doesn't get handed to you properly, and it costs a fortune in petrol. An absolute fortune. It's a 6.3 litre V12 after all. But then you forgive those because it's a 4-seat practical car that can take a load of luggage and drives like a proper Ferrari with shift lights, carbon fibre. The spec of this car, the colour of it is one of the most perfect colours ever. It's me in a nutshell, hence the Blue Crew at the time, with this in Le Mans Blue, the GT4 in Sapphire Blue, and the 675 LT in Cerulean Blue. There was very much a theme going on back then, but now the cars have become Skittles, rainbow coloured, and we're just going with absolutely everything all over the place. So I will be sad to see it go, but like I said, I looked up the last time I put petrol in it. That was back in August, and I've not really done very many miles since then, so it's not really, I think, worth keeping a car when you don't really drive it that much, unless it's a full-on collectible like the 675 LT or the GT8, which I'll keep a hold of longer term. So this will be finding its way on towards a new home. I will look for a GTC 4 Lisso because I do have a mad craving and desire to have another Ferrari in the garage. It would be strange not having one. Just, I don't know, it's a Ferrari, right? There's something, an emotional connection that comes from that that's hard to explain other than that little symbol on the front with the prancing horse. And the other thing that I love about this car, flip the Manatino into sport mode with manual on the paddles, drop it down a gear, and listen to this. Just listen to the exhaust noise. It's a pure symphony, one of the absolute best. And then just because, drop it down. Yes! One slightly sad thing is that this means I won't currently own a V12, and, well, that's why I'm going to have to buy another Ferrari V12 at some point in the future. Here we are, and check out this sea of blue, the Vantage S in cobalt blue, which is why I originally ordered the GT8 in cobalt blue. Then we have the 570S Spider and a 720S, because this is Grange in Welland, who are about to open a McLaren dealer in Hatfield, so they've got two there. There's a cobalt blue DB11, and then right in front of us is my GT8. So I'm going to reverse this and park it alongside. Lots of lovely Astons around here at the moment. One of the last times these two will be seen together. I suppose that's a mini Blue Crew on its own, even though the GT8 is a little bit more obnoxious with the orange. However, I'm just going to come over here for one more second, because this 720S is really, really nice in that colour. That is a very, very good looking machine. It was funny because when they launched, that look was a little bit quirky, but now people have come to be a bit more familiar with it and more used to it, and I think it just looks phenomenal when they're out and about. And the headlight design, for example, has just grown, I suppose, with a bit of time. Anyway, let me go in and sort out the invoice for the service on the GT8, and then we will drive these two back into London. I love this thing. Whatever I do with it, just the noise of it. That's why this is a collector's car, because this is limited edition, only 150 of them. It's built so uniquely and bespokely to me. That's why a car like this I could not easily let go of. Maybe one day it has to happen if funds require it, or if another car comes along I'd like to buy that I can't afford. That would be the pretty much only reason I would ever let a car like this go. But something like the FF, which is a wonderful car, but isn't necessarily standout or unique, so to speak. You know, there are other ones in the spec. It's not a limited number, it's not a limited build. That changes the feeling of it in terms of how long I would want to keep the car for. But hopefully we'll get an opportunity to see it in front of us at some point. Right now it's just being driven behind me as we head back into London. It is tunnel time. The FF is right alongside us. Oh, no noise, no fun. Oh, it's such a glorious pitch. This is brute anger. That is sweet symphony. Boys and toys, hey, boys and toys. This never gets boring. Goodness me. I think my favourite FF angle is when you're right behind the car and you're looking at it and you're seeing, you know, the hatchback, but it's low, it's squat, it's wide, and then you remember that it's got 660 horsepower. It is an unusual package, but one that works so well, whether it's a luxury occasion you want a prestigious car to turn up to, whether it's a mountain road you want to drive in a sporty way with a wonderful exhaust note. It really is such an unusual thing, but if that's what you want, then there's no other car for it. There's nothing else that does what Ferrari's FF and GT4 Lusso platform does. Honestly, we've talked about it in a few videos before now. I'm definitely going to miss it. There is no question about that, but these things come and it's time to move it on. I'm back in the FF for literally the last bit here, just parking it up in my parking space alongside the other two, but it will be collected, I guess, from here. That will be the end of that, so we shall just come to a stop in a moment. It's such a long car. Okay, all the way back, and just for fun, because why not? That shall be missed. Alas, let me hop out. Done for now.
All three parked up there just for fun. We're going to be jumping back into the GT8 to head home, but that's it for now. The last drive in the FF. It might feature again, but like I said, it's going to be going up for sale very, very shortly. And that will be, I guess, the end of the Blue Crew, the end of that part of the adventure, but not the end of the Shmee 150 channel. There is plenty on the horizon, believe me. Anyway, from here, I'm going to jump back in the GT8. The GTR is going as well up towards Autosport, so make sure to come along, check it out. If you're around, if you're able to, I'll be there in the live action arena, which I'm very much looking forward to. Hopefully making some noise with this alongside an awful lot of motorsport activity as well. Anyway, that is it for today. Thanks again for following this journey with the legendary Ferrari FF. It has been an incredible one over the last 2.5 years, and I really, really appreciate it all the way. So thanks very much, guys. Make sure to be subscribed, ring the bell down below to get instant notifications of new videos, and I'll catch up with you again very, very soon. Cheers.